threats of flooding across the state this spring. The declaration activates the state's emergency operations plan, which requires state agencies and the Guard to start getting ready. You're up to date on the Talk of Fargo-Moorhead, 1019 Talk FM.
Well, this would be the Edgar Winter Group.
Very good, Steve.
Free Ride.
Yes, indeed.
1974, perhaps.
I'll take your word on it. I was 3 then.
Okay, well, welcome back. Steve Poitras with Paul and Lyons. And joining us in the studio now, we welcome Karl and Kathleen Keene from Moorhead. Good morning, folks.
Morning.
Good
And
morning.
why are we visiting with Karl and Kathleen? They are hardcore vegans. Maybe you don't use the word hardcore, Kathleen.
No.
No. All right. Be sure you can pull that mic over and say so that we can hear you all clearly. Okay. Veganism, of course, is like severe vegetarianism, right?
Severe.
What?
It just means that, okay.
Well, there are different grades of being a vegetarian, right?
Yep. Vegetarian means you don't eat anything that had a face or had a mother or had anything like that. I mean, that if it had to die, you don't eat that. So, and then veganism goes one step further, or a few steps further, and no animal products. So no milk, no cheese, no eggs, that sort of thing.
Well,
no Jell-O. Well, that would be vegetarian.
Because of the gelatin in it.
Yeah.
What did they get that like from hooves or something?
Yes.
Connective tissue.
Connective tissue.
They boil down the bones and everything. Yeah, lovely.
Oh, God. Well, I don't know. It wouldn't be any great sacrifice for me to give up Jell-O, but some of the other things would be,
But you don't have to give up Jell-O because you can make Jell-O with agar,
yeah,
things
there's
like that.
carrageenan and there's different gels. You can even buy I think it's Jell-O brand or Hunt's or whatever. You can get the little gel
The little
pack
cups.
all right.
next to the
Don't
pudding.
have it.
Okay, so Kathleen, you're telling me up here you've been a vegan for about 4 years?
Yeah.
Now, was this you went directly into being a vegan, or had you been some sort of variation of vegetarian before that?
I was vegetarian since about 1989, and then 4 years ago, well, I'd wanted to be vegan for a long time, but it was hard. And then I just read and studied. I read the China Study by T. Colin Campbell, and that book really convinced me to say, hey, I need to go vegan for health reasons, and it changed my life.
And you, Karl, you said you had some years as a vegan earlier, and then you went away from it, and only to go back later?
I left college in 1980 to go to New York City to work with some friends at a vegan restaurant down by the World Trade Center. And I'd become vegan about a year before that. And after I left the restaurant, I went back to my hometown.
And that was where?
Traverse City, Michigan.
Oh,
that's where I'm from originally.
That's way up. Is that on Michigan or Huron?
Northwestern Lower Peninsula on Lake Michigan.
On Michigan, the Michigan side.
Cherry capital of the world. But anyway.
The what capital?
Cherries.
Oh, cherries.
Yeah.
Oh, they might argue with that out there in the area of Flathead Lake in northwestern Montana. They grow a lot of cherries out there. Okay.
Traverse City's
yeah, I guess I do
that.
associate Michigan with cherries. Okay.
They've had, let's see, I think 75 national cherry festivals.
Certainly, as a vegan, you can consume all the cherries you want.
All the cherries
right?
I want. But anyway, in what year was it? 1986. I was leaning towards going back to meat eating because I missed it so much. And I wasn't a real healthy vegan. I didn't balance my diet real well. So I was like one of these anorexic vegans you were joking about before. So, but I missed my meat. I did never quit because I didn't like the taste of meat or the texture or any of that. And that's still the case today. I mean, but we've found a lot of analog products out there that, fake, if you want to call them fake. They're really hot dogs. They're just not made for meat. They're burgers. They're just not made for meat, but they're made to taste like it to help people who want to transition away.
Was it easier to be a vegan in a big city like New York than, say, back here in
Well, it was easy because I worked at a vegetarian restaurant that
Oh.
also had a health food store with all the vegan products. So it was pretty easy then. When I got back to my hometown, it was really hard,
Yeah.
and there weren't that many people like me around. So
When and where did you guys get together?
1996 in Grand Forks.
And it was at that point where you both. No, you wouldn't have been because you only became vegan about 4 years ago. You say, Kathleen.
Right. Yeah.
Was
she
it-
was vegetarian, and I
Oh.
wasn't. see?
Oh,
And
so you've had a varied path to veganism.
I cracked the whip and had
Oh,
to be one.
no, we
but gently.
You bet.
in our early relationship, I was still eating meat, and actually, I was
Oh, really? No.
a pescatarian. I ate fish for a long time, up until 6, 7 years ago.
Something like that.
But of course, fish has a face, so you wouldn't eat that.
Indeed.
Yeah, it was our young son who kind of got me convicted on that. He kept talking about the poor fish. They had to die when I was eating fish, so I finally kind of gave that up.
Why are eggs ruled out?
Well, there's several different reasons. It depends on whether you're going from a health standpoint, an ethical standpoint, environmental.
Well, that when veganism, vegetarianism, frequently, along with just diet or health or whatever, it has a lot to do with, as you say, ethical concern.
Right.
Yeah.
So eggs, for example, most of them, 90+%, I'm not sure the exact number, come from battery caged hens.
Oh yeah.
Even here, you could just go out to
Tell
Detroit,
people what
Lakes
that
Folly,
means,
whatever.
battery cage.
Well, take a piece of paper, 8 by 11, and that's about the space that a hen has to be in a battery cage. And they are on wires
And spend
with their
their
little
lives there.
claws going through the wire, pooping on each other.
Yeah, because they're stacked up on top of each other.
And
So
it's it's a sad existence, and it's just not right. We shouldn't be treating any animals like that.
And obviously,
And-
it has a lot to do with the ethical treatment. Of
Right.
animals.
And it's a great step better to raise your own chickens or get eggs from chickens that and that's how I was raised. We had our own chickens and such, but
And you grew up where, Kathleen?
near Red Lake Falls, Minnesota,
Okay.
Terrebonne. Yay.
Oh, Terrebonne.
Terrebonne, yeah.
Land of the French up there, Red Lake Falls, Terrebonne.
Oui, for sure.
I quit eggs purely, really, for the health reason. My younger brother has had a couple strokes and had a heart stent put in, and I was talking to him during a family reunion, and he had told me about his health problems and how the doctor had told him he needed to stop eating eggs and cheese, and it really convicted me because I was still eating those things at that time, and when I stopped eating those things, my cholesterol levels went way down to
Me too.
very healthy, and so
Well, there are certain, I would imagine, challenges of following vegetarian or vegan diet, but we need to explore that and what are the main advantages or possibly disadvantages and many other concerns I want to bring up when we continue. We're going to take a little break here. And if you, the listener, should have a question about veganism or vegetarianism, feel free to call 701-365-0055. We're going to continue our chat with Kathleen and Karl Keen about veganism and a couple of events that are going to be coming up and just find out whether or not numbers and interests are growing or whatever. We'll do all of that and more when we come back. I'm Steve Poitras with Polly Lights, my producer, on 101.9 Talk FM, the Talk of Fargo-Moorhead.
Healthcare you can count on.
March is Save Your Vision Month. People who sit in front of a computer for long periods of time often have symptoms which can include headaches, eye strain, blurred vision, and dry eye. These can be signs of computer vision syndrome. The Heartland Network encourages you to schedule regular eye exams with an optometrist at Eyesight or Sterling Optical to reduce the development of computer vision syndrome. For more information, visit chooseheartland.com.
Geared up for the party of the year. Everyone was gonna be there. Even Kate, my dream girl. We'd fall in love, travel. But suddenly, there was no party. No Kate, nothing for me but aches, chills, and fever. All because I got the flu. If only I'd gotten a flu vaccine. Sam got one. Sam went to the party. Sam met up with Kate, and they're going to another party tonight, together, which I'm missing since 4 days later I'm still sidelined with the flu.
Flu can be serious for anyone, even people who are really healthy. And it's especially risky if you have a health condition like asthma or diabetes. So get vaccinated. If you're younger than 26, a flu vaccine could even be covered under your parents' health plan if you don't have one. Find a nearby place to get vaccinated at flu.gov. Brought to you by HHS.
I'm Corey Menken with the ASPCA, asking you to join our No Pet Store Puppies campaign and take our pledge not to buy anything at pet stores or on websites that sell puppies. Chances are that the cute puppy in the window or on the internet came from a puppy mill, a large-scale commercial breeding operation where dogs are housed in overcrowded, unsanitary conditions without adequate veterinary care, food, water, or socialization. Help the ASPCA end puppy mill cruelty by taking our pledge at nopetstorepuppies.com.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Thought I'd give you a double shot, Steve.
Oh, hang on to your dream.
Rock and roll is king.
Oh. It sounded a little bit about, but it is ELO.
Kinda, yes, it
I
is.
love that ELO, as Kathleen Keene does, and Karl's okay with him, right? You like him too. Okay, welcome back. We're visiting with a couple of serious vegans here. Well, they laugh at that. Kathleen and Karl Keene. So many things I wanted, but there are, you obviously believe in what you do, and you'd like to encourage others to give it a shot, right?
Sure.
Well, first of all, of course, you have an extensive website, Fargo Moorhead Vegetarians and Vegans they can either go to fmveg.org or meetup.com. Right. MEETUP, not MEAT. It'd be meat out, right? Didn't you have an event called Meat Out?
We did.
That was as in getting the meat out of your diet.
Yep, like the smoke out.
Okay.
March 20th was meat out, but we had an event at MSU.
You got a potluck meetup Sunday, April 21st. That'd be 3 weeks from tomorrow, I guess, 5 p.m. at
St. Stephen's Episcopal.
St. Stephen.
Yeah, our founder.
Where's that?
That's up in North Fargo.
120 21st Avenue North near the VA. And our founder was a member there. And
I thought I knew every church in town.
His name was
Being
Ron
banned
Richard.
from every one of them. No. Get away, heathen.
Yeah.
They've been generous enough to continue to allow us to have use of their kitchen and dining area downstairs free of charge.
Okay, that's Sunday, April 21 at 5 p.m.
Nice.
And then later, in early May, Trek Cafe and Lounge Fan Suite at CoreCon at the Days Inn of Moorhead, Star Trek themed food from the future. You guys evidently have some passion for sci-fi as well.
We're both Trekkies.
Okay.
It's going to be.
And this is just going to be a great opportunity. CoreCon last year saw over 500 people, and they're expecting more this year. And so they have a number of fan suites besides the main venue, and the fan suites are expected to provide hospitality to those who are attending, and so we're going to have food and beverages.
We are going over the top on that.
We're going over the top. We want to introduce a lot of new people to vegan fare, good
replicated
vegan
food. If you ever saw Star Trek, it's replicated.
Well, Karl, you were into veganism, then you left for a while because you missed meat, but then you've been back being now a vegan for how long?
About 4 years.
About 4 years.
Yeah.
And you've been vegan, but you were vegetarian before that.
Vegan-ish for 20 years.
vegan-esque?
veganish. You know, just
Veganish.
I avoided milk. Yeah, I avoided eggs. But you know, if somebody gave me a cookie or a muffin, I would.
Oh yeah,
go-
but see now you guys aren't even going to touch those.
No,
we
sorry.
Those,
Thank you though. That's
stop
nice.
and go
Somebody else
muffins.
can have
Well, yeah, they'll get consumed. Oh, you'd really drink. You know, and over in the main newsroom here at Radio Fargo Morning, we have a listener, John Boltman, who brings in most Saturday mornings a big box of wonderfully glazed, various pastries and filled with cream inside and all.
You poured it on,
Sounds
Steve.
You don't lust for that anymore, though. Huh?
Oh,
no.
we still do. You know,
We do.
there's companies who make them, and I look forward to the local bakeries starting to make them. They're starting to.
Did I see here that in terms of just locally, does it say that you have something like 300 or more members of the
Right.
local?
On the fmveg.org site, there's 352 or so members, and then on Facebook we've got an overlap of probably 150 some members.
And I would imagine beyond that, a lot of the people that pursue some variation or some degree of vegetarianism. That,
Oh yeah, we've got people who aren't vegetarian at all in the group that just like to come to the potluck to eat. And one fellow in particular identifies himself as a pro-vegan meat eater. You know, he's not. He's a meat eater, but he's not like, oh no, it's vegan.
Okay, well, let's first somebody. Well, why would I want to give this even a trial to go that way? What would you enumerate as some of the main advantages of going to a vegan diet or some variation of vegetarian diet?
For me, I just try to encourage people to live a healthier lifestyle. I think that's something a lot of people are interested in, being healthier.
Well, in what way is it healthier, Karl?
Well, you're not consuming the fats if you're using dairy products, cheese, butter. So you're not, consuming those fats and oils and things, and eggs are high in cholesterol. So eliminating those things is good. Meat too is our bodies really aren't designed to digest meat properly, and so meat stays in your colon a lot longer than vegetables, and that's why there's such an increased rate in colon cancer and things like that. So, those are just a few of the reasons. I'll let the expert here, who knows all the facts and
We're visiting
No,
with
no.
Karl and Kathleen Keene on veganism. Go ahead, hit it,
Kathleen.
Kathleen. The main advantages of a vegan diet.
I would say for me, this might sound a little crazy, but just having a clean conscience. Just
You're
saying,
going
I'm
by
not.
the ethical side of it.
That's one of them. There's many myriad of reasons why I'm still vegan.
Well,
And
certainly they say, and first of all, I've got, my wife and I, we had a couple of year period where we were fairly, vegetarian. We made exceptions. We weren't hardcore about it, but we evolved back. And I certainly, I don't like to, eat heavy amounts, but I enjoy meat. But they say that if we all had to experience the slaughter of the animals that we eat, or to had to slaughter them ourselves, there'd probably be
sure.
far more vegetarians
Sure.
among us.
You
Yeah.
definitely would. It's easier to pay somebody to do anything. Push a button, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess on the health side, the China study shows that diets that are over 5% or more in animal protein, whether it be from meat or eggs or milk or whatever, they get cancer. Those who don't, eat less than 5% just don't get cancer. It just doesn't
Am
happen.
I safe in
It
assuming
turns
that
it on.
when you talk about the China study, was it done among the population of
Yes.
China?
And, people might argue, oh, well, that's Chinese, but they're just people like us. And, it was a randomized study through Cornell University. And
How many years did that?
I think it was over the course of, I'm not sure. I want to say 7 years, but it was a big study.
All right.
It was 9,000 people, something
No,
like that.
Karl, you mentioned about how that you would reduce or eliminate your consumption of certain fats, but the fact is we do have to have Aren't
for
there
sure.
certain vitamins that are fat soluble? So,
Yep.
I mean, the idea you can't eliminate, you wouldn't be very healthy if you eliminated fat entirely.
It doesn't
sure.
have to be animal fat though.
Yeah, you can
be healthy.
consist on, there's olives and avocados and coconut. That's really high sources of fat. But there's fat in almost every vegetable. I mean, lettuce even has fat. You don't-
Lettuce has fat in it?
Yes, it does. It really does. I mean, that's where we get all those great omega-3 fatty acids from all the myriad of fruits and vegetables.
You never think of it that
You
way.
never think of it.
But we cook.
I mean,
we
if you
cook with
think
oil.
about
We cook
corn,
with oil.
I think it's oil out of corn.
Well, do you eat corn?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, there are a lot of people that
I'm
talk
not
about.
avoiding fat.
No, but I mean, there are a lot of people that talk about the over. What do I want to say? They put what do I want to say? Corn syrup or corn
sure,
sugar
high fructose.
into so many products, and they denigrate. I mean, they say that is not good.
Well, sure, that's a whole nother issue. I don't like high fructose corn syrup, but
Okay.
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know.
Quit drinking that pop.
It wasn't intentional.
What about are you? How do you feel like about refined sugar?
Try to reduce the amount.
Okay.
But that just goes on the health thing.
Where do you find your sources of protein then, basically, in a strictly vegan diet?
As long as you are eating a variety of foods and that you're not just subsisting on, say, one food like ramen or something, as long as you are eating a variety of things, your protein should be fine. It's so rare to find protein deficiency.
But they're nuts.
Oh yeah.
Beans, grains. There are all these, like we were talking about, meat analog products, the veggie burgers and things like that.
You don't have to go out of your way.
So do you find yourselves then, because I know they can take tofu or soybeans and turn them into a lot of analogs, right, as you say?
Right. So
But
if you like that sort of thing.
But there are some of the analogs that don't even use soy, so it's not like people think of tofu and think of that white block of, that's tasteless unless you really do something to it. And that's I don't want tofu meat. But
right. But
some of
it's
these
not like that
these analog products can. I've actually made like a meatloaf from one of them that fools people.
And what brand is that?
That would be Gimme Lean.
Light Life.
Light Life. Gimme Lean. Ground beef style. Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Well, we've got a lot of other, thanks to your website that I did a little schooling up, a lot of different issues to bring up in terms of veganism and vegetarianism. We need to go to a little news break here for a while. But then we're going to continue with Karl and Kathleen Keene, both of Moorhead. I mean, both here. And you have children too, right?
Yes, we have a boy, Seth.
Okay. Well, we're going to ask about, what are some of the challenges in meeting, your dietary needs in veganism, if we haven't already. What is the image of vegans and vegetarians? We got to come just a few seconds. Okay, we're going to take a news break and we'll be back with Karl and Kathleen. I'm Steve Poitras with producer Polly Lines on 1019 Talk FM, the Talk of Fargo-Moorhead.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. North Korea continues to issue threats against the South and the U.S. after a training mission by our forces, which we're getting more details on.
Fox News has learned that those B-2s that were sent to the Korean Peninsula were in fact the first B-2 fighters to ever be sent to the Korean Peninsula, and that they were not originally supposed to be part of the annual military exercise with South Korea, but Secretary Hagel made the decision in the wake of North Korean threats.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin.
Each B-2 dropped 4 inert 2,000-pound bombs off the coast of South Korea and returned home. The B-2 is capable of carrying 8 5,000-pound bombs.
And 2 fifth-grade boys in Washington state have been found competent to stand trial in juvenile court on a murder conspiracy charge. Prosecutor says they plan to kill a female classmate. Fox News, we report, you decide.
From the KFGO News Center, I'm Don Haney on the Talk of Fargo-Moorhead, 1019 Talk FM. A plane crash 4 miles southeast of Hawley Friday killed the pilot. The plane was flying from Superior, Wisconsin, expected to land at Moorhead's Airport. Clay County Sheriff Bill Berkowitz says the pilot was in contact with his family while en route near the Park Rapids area and told them the fog was thick, might have to turn around. Pilot's mother contacted authorities about 12:30 when the plane was overdue. The plane was later discovered in a field about 4:15. Multiple injury crash involving a number of vehicles north of Jamestown Friday. 2 separate crashes resulted in a pileup between 2 semis and 3 passenger cars. 6 people were taken to local hospitals. State Patrol is investigating. The state representative from Fargo, who spent 25 years with the Highway Patrol, says the legislature isn't doing much to keep drunk drivers off the road. The House yesterday defeated legislation to raise the fine for first-time conviction from $250 to $500. You're up to date on the Talk of Fargo Moorhead, 1019 Talk FM.
This is your Employment Connection, brought to you by Spherion.
Jacobson Transport is looking for you. They offer a $1,000 sign-on bonus, great pay, benefits, paid vacation, retirement, and more. Call Dick at 1-800-726-8615 for details. The Fargo Park District is now accepting applications for summer seasonal positions, including golf course maintenance and much more. For more information and to apply, log on to fargoparks.com. Industrial Builders is seeking an experienced crane operator for their crane rental business in the Fargo area. Must be proficient in hydraulic cranes, NCCCO certified, and possess a Class A license. Full-time position with top pay and benefits. Apply at industrialbuilders.com or call Stacy at 701-356-9846. Equal Opportunity Employer, MFVH. Dakota Fence is seeking laborers and foreman trainees for full-time fence and traffic control positions. Excellent wages, advancement opportunities, health insurance, 401k flex, and vacation benefits are available. An Equal Opportunity Employer. Trail King Industries, a leading manufacturer of specialized trailers, is currently hiring welders, assemblers, and painters at their West Fargo and Mitchell, South Dakota locations. Full-time hours plus overtime available. Apply now at trailking.com. The Olive Garden has immediate openings for AM weekend production, PM weekend line cooks, and servers for all shifts. Olive Garden offers flexible hours, competitive pay, and day one insurance benefits. To join the Olive Garden family today, apply online at olivegarden.com.
This has been your Employment Connection, brought to you by Spherion.
Moments watching Dad read to my little Eric. That's why I'm so grateful I insisted on an eye exam when I noticed him struggling with the words on the page. We found out Dad has age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. Luckily, the doctor caught it in time for treatment, so Dad can still read. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-254-6552 for a free packet on preventing and managing AMD. That's 1-800-254-6552.
You feel petrified. You're struggling with your mortgage payments, not knowing what to do. You do nothing. But if you do something, you're far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making Home Affordable is a free government program. Call 888-995-HOPE to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about your options. Call 888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
You need to know. We need to tell you.
They talk about finance, wealth, education, health, spirituality.
It's as if it's my next door neighbor talking to me, only he's on the radio instead of next door to me.
It makes me think. It makes me laugh.
No matter where the news is happening, you get it first and fast from the Talk of Fargo Moorhead.
Give me the news.
1019 Talk FM. More than just talk. Perspective.
This must be Eagles.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, well, I'll hold my tongue, but...
Just take it easy, Steve.
Well, they were big, and I was a fan of them. Kind of schlocky, really.
Schlocky? Wow.
Define that?
Yes. Do I need to use the dump button?
It's not a term of endearment. Okay, welcome back. I'm Steve Poitras with producer Pauline Langston, visiting with us about vegans and vegetarianism from Moorhead, Karl and Kathleen Keene. And you just think environmentally, in terms of the health of the world, you think this is a wiser way to go, Kathleen?
I think it is, because it takes, just thinking about the water usage, it takes way more water to make a pound of meat than a pound of any other soybeans or corn or whatever you want to
Well,
grow.
Tomatoes or carrots.
Yeah.
you do bring in, I mean, along with obviously the strong arguments that you make in regards to, improved health, but the ethical political side of it in terms of animal rights, et cetera, right?
That, and I wanted to say one more thing about the environmental reasons. If all the grain that's being grown for animals were given to humans, I mean, I think that it would be solved right there. Yes, people say, "Oh, what about the animals?" But if it's not going to happen right now. It'll be a decrease. It'll decrease to eventually where people won't eat as much meat.
What amazes me continually, whatever people are eating with or without meat or whatever degree, is that we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 billion people on this planet.
Right.
Where do they find enough to eat as it is? And
Right.
yet, we have the ever-expanding populations of so many countries. I'm sure China and India come to mind, but realize that Bangladesh, a country geographically the size of Wisconsin, and it has something like 125, 130 or more million people, whereas
Yeah.
Wisconsin has about 7 million. And, well, I got to assume in these places they're not eating very much meat, but
Right.
just that the planet already supports this many billions and growing. As I just find it astounding, and that doesn't really relate to our topic.
It does
Oh,
to
it
some
does.
extent, but
Okay, now what are the challenges that someone might find in terms of meeting? Are certain vitamins, that you normally get with meat consumption that aren't necessarily going to be automatically there with a totally vegan diet?
the only concern that a vegan might encounter is B12. And a lot of people, even non-meat eaters, have trouble, especially the elderly, getting
Because
B12
you actually hear of people getting B12
shots.
shots,
and things
right?
like that. Yeah, it's hard to find in today's world. When people ate organic, regular food, it's a bacteria grown on, it grows on the outside of vegetables and in the dirt. It's in our dirt. And with the soil depleted, we just don't get it anymore in our sanitized world. And so it's hard to get that. So you have to
You take some
supplement.
special measures then?
I do supplement, but a lot of things are fortified. You can get fortified soy milk or almond milk or cereal, that sort of thing. And then you have to worry about vitamin D, which everybody should worry about. If you
And
live,
obviously we get a lot of it through generally with milk, right?
yeah, it's fortified.
And then you get it from sunlight, huh?
Right, only from like about April till September. If you live north of, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out Nebraska or something, you don't get any vitamin D in the winter through sunlight. So you have to
Why? Because
supplement.
it's too low in the sky, the angle in the sky?
Yep. hmm
Well,
So
go
and
figure.
vitamin
What-
D is so
one more
important.
reason to move south, huh?
Yeah, it's so
In this
important
never-ending winter here.
for everything. I think everybody should take vitamin D supplement just
Okay.
for safety.
But as she was saying, most of the non-dairy milk available today is fortified with vitamin D, vitamin B12. And we use that every day, whether it's in cereal or
Smoothie.
fruit smoothie. So we get that. But
In my
yeah,
latte.
it's still good to take a supplement with vitamin D, especially in the winter.
No, you mentioned cereal and so forth. Do you have to be really careful in terms of actual, you say you go to the supermarket, because you might be thinking a product, well, here there's no meat, this is vegetarian, but yet in the actual making of that product, there likely might be a little bit of milk or milk products, things like that. You have to be checking ingredients very carefully.
Well,
Yeah,
yes, we have to check ingredients.
But you
And-
learn pretty quickly, oh, well, Life cereal is vegan, for example,
Oh, okay.
or Oreos are vegan. You
don't
think-
run into too much problem with most cereals, unless they're sugar frosted or like frosted shredded wheat or something like that. Might have little gelatin or something in the frosting.
And then there's some that have milk in them.
Some have milk.
Yeah.
What about now in your years of being vegans, in terms of the people that you deal with, friends or colleagues at work or whatever? What sort of views do you run into with other people? Are they just curious? Are they supportive, or are they critical, or does it run the gamut?
Definitely runs the gamut. I guess most people are just like curious and ask the obvious. Most asked question is, where do you get your protein? So, I just tell them what I told you.
Well, I remember way back when the great basketball player on both the college and then the pro level, Bill Walton, who I think had played at UCLA and won a lot of championships. Then I think was with the whatever. He went on a serious, if it wasn't vegan, it was serious vegetarian. And his management, they were troubled that, because he was always walking around with a bag of nuts, I guess, because to get the protein. I mean, he was big, 6'10" or 6'11", and the rigors. I mean, man, you can imagine the calories and energy you burn up playing professional basketball, and yet he had gone to.
There's lots of vegan athletes nowadays.
Any high profile that you can enumerate, or?
Well, Mike Tyson.
Oh.
He's not an athlete anymore, I would imagine, but he looks like he still is.
He tasted that ear and he decided, I'm done with that stuff.
And it's so hard to
Just
get
kidding.
so hard to get Evander Holyfield ear, out of season. I got to be happy for Mike Tyson. I mean, man, this young man's world is a total mess.
He's turned his life around.
Yeah, he really has, and I think he's having some success, and it's quite a story there. And boy, in his prime, there was nobody scarier in the ring than Mike Tyson. When he won the championship at the age of about 20, I think he was. Okay, well, he is. Okay. Someone might ask, what about an expectant mother and trying to continue following a vegan diet? Would be special challenges there?
I would imagine you would just want to be as vigilant as you would be otherwise. You just make sure you get high nutrition.
We get the image of expectant mothers, really having incredible appetites, and understandably that so it might become, precarious.
I think it would actually benefit. I wish now I would have been vegan when I was pregnant, just because I think I wouldn't have gained as much weight, and but.
And your son Seth, 15, and he's following a vegan diet too.
Right.
And he's sold on it, evidently, Karl.
Yeah, I let him make the choice himself. I said, if you're going over to your friend's house, it's your choice if you want to partake of whatever they're eating, but nothing in the house. But he chose himself. So.
And he's healthy. He's taller than both of us. He's healthy as you can be, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, there have been some noted people in history that pursued that. One of the first names that come to mind, Mahatma Gandhi, I think took vows of being a non-meat eater and non-alcohol consumer at some point when he was, I think, in his 30s or so. And the Irish-British writer, I think, George Bernard Shaw, I don't know exactly what he followed diet-wise, but I know he was
vegetarian.
Definitely against the vivisection of animals.
Right.
So the ethical side there once again.
Yep.
So, well, earlier, Karl, you mentioned that we're not designed to digest meat products readily, and yet, from the earliest times of prehistoric man, we pursued hasn't been, just in terms of survival. Meeting was almost essential, wasn't it?
Maybe if you didn't have anything else to eat, sure. I think though that what has made us healthy though is plant-based diet.
Well, if you look at the teeth of a carnivore compared to ours, there's not much of a comparison. And the same with the digestive tract. The digestive tract of a carnivore is not as long as
they push it through more rapidly, is what you're saying, right?
Yes,
it doesn't have as much time to ferment or whatever.
Right.
One thing that really I'm just astounded by is hearing about meat eaters and how often they go, or how less infrequent, with bowel movements.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't go every day.
That gets to something I wanted to mention. When I noticed a big difference from the time I went back to eating meat, I was constipated a lot. When I stopped eating meat, that was gone.
Well, you've sold
Simple
me
as
right
that.
there.
And with that,
we got one more segment to do, but we need to take a little break and we'll continue. We'll have a few more minutes to spend with Karl and Kathleen Keene on veganism and a couple of events coming up that we might mention once again. We'll be back with more. I'm Steve Poitras with Polylines on Saturday morning here on 101.9 Talk FM, the Talk of Fargo Moorhead.
Healthcare you can count on.
March is Save Your Vision Month. People who sit in front of a computer for long periods of time often have symptoms which can include headaches, eye strain, blurred vision, and dry eye. These can be signs of computer vision syndrome. The Heartland Network encourages you to schedule regular eye exams with an optometrist at Eyesight or Sterling Optical to reduce the development of computer vision syndrome. For more information, visit chooseheartland.com.
Like me, coming home can be harder than expected. I felt a little out of place, but it turns out I wasn't alone. At IAVA.org, there's a free online community of thousands of OIF and OEF vets who've got your back here, just like they did over there. So now, I'm never alone. I can get the resources I need and talk to tons of people who understand where I'm coming from.
Whether it's navigating the GI Bill,
or VA hospitals,
managing the transition home, or meeting people you can share stories with, you'll find it at IAVA.org, even if it's just everyday stuff.
Like getting tips on where to find a nice sweater for my dog. Did he just say that?
Really?
Okay, maybe not that, but everything else. No matter where you are, Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America is there for you. Join our community at IAVA.org.
We've got your back.
Brought to you by Iraq Afghanistan Veterans of America and the Ad Council.
I work hard, and I have to be careful with my money. So when I found out my union was using my dues to elect politicians that I don't even like, I contacted the National Right to Work Foundation. Turns out our state's right to work law prohibits union officials from forcing me to pay dues just to keep my job. They helped me get my money back at no charge. They can help you too. For free information or help, call National Right to Work toll-free at 800-336-3600 or visit righttowork.org.
There are lots of ways your family can avoid the flu.
Like moving to a distant island for the entire flu season.
But the best way is to get your family vaccinated against flu.
Flu can be serious for everyone, even really healthy people.
Young kids and older people are especially at risk.
So is anyone with a health condition like asthma or diabetes.
That's why everyone 6 months and older should get a flu vaccine every year.
It's easy.
A lot easier than moving to a distant island.
Find a nearby place to get vaccinated at flu.gov.
Brought to you by HHS.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Smith, and I'd like to talk to you about a screening. No, not a movie screening, but a screening test for colorectal cancer. It could save your life. Colorectal cancer is highly preventable, yet it is the second leading cancer killer of men and women in the U.S. But it doesn't have to be. Screening finds precancerous polyps so that they can be removed before they turn into cancer. So please get screened for colorectal cancer. I did.
If you're 50 or older, get screened. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
What if we got rewarded for every good decision?
Dinner. Meal needs a vegetable. Check.
Amazing!
Vegetables cooked with a healthier oil instead of butter?
Fantastic! Replacing bad fats with healthier fats, like those in canola or vegetable oil, is good for your heart. Take up the challenge for good health, because the you of the future will say,
Fantastic!
Visit heart.org/face the fats. Canola Info proudly supports the American Heart Association's Face the Fats campaign.
Hi, this is Jennifer Coolidge. The American Heart Association says the disco song Stayin' Alive is the near-perfect beat for hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult collapse from cardiac arrest, you only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911, push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of the song Stayin' Alive. Disco is back and it's saving lives. To learn more, go to heart.org/hands-only-CPR.
Nationally supported by the WellPoint Foundation.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Very good, Kathleen. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
He wasn't better than I.
September. All right. Welcome back. Our last segment with Karl and Kathleen Keene talking about the world of being a vegan. Are there particular restaurants that cater more to, for vegan clients?
Yes, there's Paradiso. They have now Gardein.
Whole page
A whole
for
page.
vegetarians.
Yes, they have a whole page for, almost a whole page for vegetarian, vegan. And they have a product called Gardein, which is garden protein. They have chicken strips and beefless strips. And the manager there said he likes them better than the actual steak that they put in their fajitas or burritos or whatever. And then Thai Orchid, Drunken Noodle, any of the Chinese restaurants.
Those are Thai. Oh yeah. In addition to any of the Thai.
All those restaurants. Are
Well,
really
obviously you can't enjoy sushi if it's going to have raw fish in it.
Snapdragon. Oh yeah, Snapdragon.
That's awesome. Over in South Moorhead.
Always order off the menu. Do not order off the buffet.
Yeah.
For your own health anyway.
Yeah, I suppose you're not fans of those all-you-can-eat buffets,
No.
huh?
Yeah,
But,
it's usually not real veg friendly.
No, it's like roll of the die.
But you can order off the menu, and they're very, keen on helping you out and meeting your needs, your desires, as long as you let them know and explain exactly your dietary requirements.
Well, no, I'm sure you would say that, in terms of your own personal health, veganism is a boost in that regard. And yet you said you both recently have bouts of the flu?
Yes, but I have to say, I haven't had flu for a long, long time. I succumbed to it. That's the only way I can explain it. Because I hadn't slept and I wasn't eating very well.
Being vegetarian or vegan is not a cure-all.
No.
Well, yeah, it's not.
People
that's
that
not
are
going to make you
vegetarian or
immune to
vegan
everything,
actually do die of cancer and heart attacks and things like that. It's just that the chance is greatly reduced. So you can do everything right and still have health problems.
Right.
One thing I discovered in the couple of years that my wife and I were, to some degree, vegetarians is that meat products tend to be, it's like a concentration of calories. You can, just in terms of the substantive matter, it's like you can eat a lot more when you're going to fruits, vegetables, grains, because of the lower caloric content.
Right, and it is a good way
to control or lose weight?
Yes, it can be. If you're on a standard American diet of burgers and fries and muffins and whatever, and
she winks.
and you switch to a vegan diet, I think that immediately you will see differences in your weight and all that.
What do you use in terms of cooking oils?
You can use canola oil or coconut oil or whatever.
We have olive oil.
I try not to use them too much just because they're high in calories.
No, obviously you don't use butter, but is margarine, is that a
There's
vegan okay product?
There are margarines that are. There's Earth Balance, Smart Balance. There's Blue Bonnet Light is vegan.
Now, again, we would invite you if you want to learn more about FM Vegans or FM Veg.
It's Fargo Moorhead Vegetarians and Vegans, and I wanted to say that everyone is welcome. Vegetarian, vegan, flexitarian, pescatarian, meat eater, hardcore carnivores.
And I see that the organization has been around now going on 7 years.
Yes.
All right. And the website, you can either meetup.com, as in meetup.com, or fmveg.org.
Right. Meetup.com/fmveg or fmveg.org.
You got this big deal, the Trek Cafe and Lounge. It's going to be coming up in early May. And see, you've got lined up a lot of sponsors, and one that doesn't surprise me, Swanson Health Products.
Right. They donated a $50 gift certificate.
All right.
I'm not sure if we're gonna give that away or if we're gonna use it for something. We need monetary donations, so we're probably gonna use that for buying extra food.
The Zevia brand soda, which is a pop made with stevia leaves.
Non-caloric.
They're
sweetener.
donating over 500 cans of soda too.
Yeah. So if you want to try some good food, come to CoreCon May 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Field roast frankfurters, which have been served
Those
at
are
Seattle's ballpark. We're going to be having those.
I see also in something coming up much sooner. This coming Thursday, from Fargo to Florence, solo art exhibit by Emily Swedberg. How does that relate?
Emily.
How does that relate to FM Veg?
Well, she's a member of ours, and I just thought, well, Red Raven will have a little coffee meet up there. We go out to different places.
That's 6 o'clock.
And she's going to be
Thursday.
serving vegan Italian food like biscotti. Yes, I should say
For my final
biscotti.
semester at Concordia College, I studied art in Florence.
We like to support our members, so we have little events with, you know, if somebody's having something, we'll say, oh, let's meet up here and have it here. She's having an art.
Hence the name Meetup. Okay, we down just a minute. Okay, so you got that. You've got the potluck meetup Sunday, April 21 at 5, and again, that's going to be at where?
St. Stephen's
Episcopal
Church.
And then the Trek Cafe and Lounge Fan Suite at Cork on May 3rd through the 5th, the Days Inn of Moorhead coming up. Thanks so much for exploring the world of vegans and vegetarianism with us, Karl and Kathleen Keene.
Hi, Seth.
Thank you. Hi, Seth. All right.
And hello to everybody from FM Vet.
And thank you to my producer, as always, Paulie Lights. Coming in next, it'll be Couch Potato Radio on Saturday morning with Derek Hansen. Steve Poitras saying, if you're listening to our sister station, KFGO, this afternoon, I'll have trivia time at 2 o'clock right there. Call in and play along. All right, so have a great Easter weekend and join me again next Saturday morning right here. Steve Poitras saying so long on 101.9 Talk FM, the talk of Fargo Moorhead.
So take the photographs and still